Hi. So during the lockdown period and during the whole of this year of the pandemic, I think that we've sat a lot more and found that sitting creates a lot of issues, and the way we move affects how we feel in our day-to-day life and how we speak to other people and our relationships with our partners and with our kids, with our families, and also with ourselves. And even in a sedentary life, as we sit more looking at our screens, it's filled with activity. So even though we're sitting, we also stand and we're walking around the room. We're breathing, and we're reaching for things over the desk, answering the phone, on the laptop, on the computer, on the keyboard, and we're bending, and our shoulders are up here, and our pelvis gets tight. So how can we sit with a little bit more comfort and a little bit more ease? So I'm just going to talk you through a very quick minute or minute and a half of what to do. So as you sit there, can you sit towards the front of your chair, and can you notice your right and your left sit bone? So sitting right there on your sit bones, can you notice if there's one sit bone that is heavier than the other or feels more in contact with the chair? And then notice where your rib cage is at the front here. And can you start to feel your rib cage dropping back towards the back of the chair as if it's being pulled backwards? And you'll tuck under, so you start to roll your pelvis and you tuck under. And then you come forwards onto the front of your sit bones as your rib cage and your heart feel like they're lifting up towards the ceiling. And then roll back underneath you, so your heart feels as if it's going towards the back of the chair, and you tuck under and you're rolling onto the back of those sit bones, and then you roll back forwards onto the front of your sit bones. So your feet are flat on the floor, and let your head move with your pelvis. So as you tuck under, you'll notice your chin will come down towards your belly, and then when you pull forward onto the front of your sit bones, you notice your chin will lift. Now go quite slowly, don't treat it like it's something that you've got to get through quickly. So just try and feel the movement as you're rolling through the right and the left sit bone. Notice your feet, and notice that movement in your spine. Can you notice your pelvis and how your pelvis moves? And notice how your shoulders are moving. Can you relax your jaw? And now keep your head still and just let the pelvis move. Tucking under and rolling forward. Tucking under and rolling forward. So keep the height and the length in your neck. Keep the length in the neck and the height of your head as your pelvis moves. So see if you can stay looking at the horizon as you move your pelvis. And helping to free up your lower back and getting some movement in your ribs. And then bring it back and rest where what feels like the middle for you in your sit bones. So you're not too far forward of your sit bones, you're not too far back in your sit bones, but you're right there in the middle of them with your feet resting. Your heels are underneath the level of your knees, and you're lengthening through the crown of your head. And just turn then from one side to the other, and just notice that freedom of movement that you now have in your ribs and in your spine, because you feel that your ribs can now have that movement because your pelvis is happier or wherever it is on your chair. And happy practicing.